Alright, we are recording, so continuing in Viscera Clean Detail. And there. Just started the music going. Let's get back into the game. And timer going. Come on. There we go. Where am I? Okay, I know where. I just didn't quite remember which hallway or which part of which hallway I was in. Okay, this is... Okay, we do a thing... But this is a problem. I've not encountered the arc welder anywhere. And I've got no idea how to, like, open up the... I can just look that up. How to open up the door. I'm just gonna... It would help if I knew where it was. There we go. Alright, so let me see. I talked about tech stuff in the first two videos. I talked about movies in the last. What do I want to talk about? Ah, crap. There we go. Just throw it in there. Could talk about video game. I know, I could talk about Dying Light 2 a little bit. So I wanted to record... do these recordings in it, do the hard recordings, because it is a horror game, that's a book. But it just did not want to be recorded that well. Well, not... Yeah, OBS, I think, was having some issues. The drivers didn't necessarily like the game much either. It happens. And I couldn't, do these recordings with it. But I did manage to get the review playthrough, anyway. But that, I really enjoyed it. I did. I really did. That was an easy recommendation for me to make. Oh, you know what? I could talk about that. Ooh, I like that. I'll come back to it in just a moment. This is gonna be soil, baby. I think Dying Light 2 is a better game than Dying Light 1. I'll say that as well. Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing it. And there are some games that it's like a separate kind of recommendation, but it is a kind of recommendation where it's like, okay, I finished reviewing this and I want to play it again. I want to play more. That is not the case for a lot of games. I think most games, I would say it's even, when you finish reviewing it, you're done. And it is worth pointing out, though, that reviewing a game is very different from normally playing it. Because when you're reviewing, you are having to pay special focus to the game, so you can't just enjoy it. You need to think about, okay, why do I enjoy it? Why is this enjoyable? Why is this not enjoyable? And so on and so on. And you add in being an idiot like I am, who's on the mic the entire damn time, and recording all of that. It's also very physically and mentally exhausting. And yes, I'm serious. It can be very physically exhausting. A game review. Why did I grab? Whatever. It's like I didn't need this. I mean, I did, but I didn't need that specific. Yeah, so it's just, plenty of times it's, you finish reviewing games, don't really feel like come back to it. That one I want to come back to at some point. I haven't yet. Same at the time, I've been working on other projects. But I legitimately do want to come back to it. Replay it. And it also, I think that because I started playing prior to release, that there's some stuff that's a little bit bugged just because of that pre-release stuff, and then patches coming out. So like some missions that I think I should be able to do, but I can't. I blame that, but I mean it's not a big deal. It really isn't. It's like, yeah, it happens. I'm playing a game, a week or so before release. It's like it happens. Well, bugs like that happen, so I don't care. Well, I do care, but it doesn't bother me. It's not going to be a negative in a movie. Yeah, I don't really know what more I can say aside from read the review. Go to Overclocker's Club, find the review and read it. Or find the review playthrough and watch it. It's 52 hours long. So if you need something and somehow can put up... If you need some background noise and somehow can put up with the sound of my voice, there you go. I mean, true, you might have a better time going through all these videos. Even just the Viscera Clean Detail videos that... You know, I just realized that. I need to check the time, but... Dying Light 2 actually was more... That was at 52 hours. This, with these videos, might be getting to 52 hours. Huh. Dying Light 2 is long. I didn't hit the... What was it, 300 hours they were saying was possible? That was like a weird... I have a feeling that's counting some stuff that you wouldn't normally count. I mean, like, a pure everything in the game has been done kind of count, which don't think that's how most people play their game. But did give me one point of conversation for doing those playthrough videos. There's something... Oh, yeah, that's right. This is... some people I've seen generically whine. I'm gonna say whine because I mean to insult these people to a degree. Not completely, but partly, yes, I do mean to insult you. That say that you need to complete a game in order to write a review of it. No, you don't. I knew that I was going to recommend Dying Light 2 in, like, the first few hours. I think I actually may have said in the review that, you know, I knew in 5 hours I was going to recommend this game, and then I went to 52. Because I was enjoying the game then. Say, I wouldn't have been able to cover the story properly, and not all the gameplay, because so much unlocks later. But I could have. Okay, I have to look this up. And I know I'm in the middle of talking about this stuff, but alright. And I misspelled it anyway. Got me there, though. Yep, the laser welder is behind the store. That is... Well, here, I'll put it in. 0, 8, 4. There we go. Oh, that's not it. I was looking at a map, but I want to see if it says where the thing... Wow, okay. That I would not have realized. You have to... A primary objective is the stacking of the cryogenic canister. I am not seeing anything for where you're supposed to find that code, though. Just what the code is. Maybe it's in one of these data logs. No? Yeah, I do not know. Let me try looking it up specifically while the music plays. Sounds like it was actually spelled out in blood somewhere. Which, I mean, it even, somebody tries to defend that by saying that the game is about some level of sadism to the player, that you have to go through and do all this. But I have to kind of argue that it's a dark game. It's hard to see a lot of details. So yeah, I don't really think that's appropriate. Where is it? I know I saw the blue dash line somewhere. Was it all the way over there? But yeah, spelling it out in blood, because all you need to do is not realize that there's a message, and now you can't access a part of the level that you need to access. That's really terrible. I think that is saying Cryogenesis. I'm gonna move this stuff now in clean areas, because why not? So yeah, going back though to the whole thing about, realistically, no, you do not need to finish a game in order to review it, but it's also, what do you count as finishing a game? Because there are some games that, you can't technically finish, they're procedurally generated, so what do you consider being finished in that? Because you can't possibly cover... Oh, this is actually another one. You can't possibly cover them all. Every single map. But, I mean, technically, you should be reviewing the map as well, shouldn't you? I mean, it's a ridiculous sentiment to say that you have to review... that you have to finish a review. And it's, as I said, some games you can just know right off the bat. You can know within 10 minutes, maybe. 10 minutes would be really, really fast, but definitely within 2 hours, you can figure out if you like the game or not. If it's a game to recommend or not. That's easy. And it's also, I would wonder about, for anyone that says, oh, you have to play it all. Well, because how else do you know if it's good or not? There's so many things wrong with that. But does that mean, is a person that claims that is a requirement for a reviewer, do they finish every single game that they ever start? I don't. I got plenty of games. I don't complete them. Sometimes I lose interest. Sometimes the game isn't that good, so I want to walk away. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And also, what do you consider finished? Do you consider just getting to the end of the story? What about all the side quests? Do you need to do those? It's you. And do you yourself demand you do all those before you move on to the next game? It's a ridiculous concept to demand of any reviewer that they have to do the entire thing. Because, like I said, you can figure it out in 2 hours. It's also, take this game. I'm over 50 hours in this game. Is there anything new in it? For the past, 3 dozen videos, because this is video 69. Okay? We're almost 70 videos here. Is there anything in it at this point? I would say in the first five videos, we basically knew how the game plays, right? Would there have been any point to doing more maps? I mean, sure, maybe some that have, the gravity manipulation, but as far as the actual character of the game, those don't determine that. What I'm doing right now, this is it. I'm just like, this one video that'll be 40 minutes long. The videos before this one, for the same map, 40 minutes long. You know what the game is. You can review based on that. You don't need to do the whole map. You get it. I mean, true, if you don't do the whole map, you don't get the experience of clocking out. But is that really necessary to understand this game? To be able to say if this is, the character of the game, if this, what it would take for somebody to find this enjoyable? No, it doesn't. And there's also the whole, and this actually kind of sort of happened with Dying Light 2. The whole, if you have a game that's bad, and it's, let's say, 10 hours, but that last hour was actually really, really good, I would say if you're a reviewer and you say, oh yeah, this game is good, and you are, and because for some people, maybe they did like the game, but if you, yeah, the beginning is really bad, for 9 hours, but that last hour was so good, it's like, no, you're not going to tell me, you're not going to try to convince me that 9 hours of crap can be corrected with 1 hour that's good. I'm rejecting that notion. And at the same time, though, you can have 9 hours that are solid, beautiful works of art, and then 1 hour that's absolute shit. And you know something? That's still a good game. Because at that point, it shouldn't be able to really change the experience such that you would be like, nope, I can't recommend this anymore. As I said, Dying Light 2 is kind of like that. The story falls apart some, and the final boss fight is, well, they've actually made a patch that may have changed some stuff there. But it still is that the finale there was, it could have been better. There were ways to tighten it. But it's like, I mean, the game is still good. I mean, it's 50, well, okay, the gameplay was actually 50 hours. My videos totaled 52. But it's still, that's 49 hours to 1 hour. That it's like, and that 1 hour was like, yeah, this could be better. I can see how it's better. It's not bad, but I can see how it could be better. Versus the 49 hours where it's like, I am legitimately enjoying all of this. You don't need to finish a game. You should, though. As a reviewer, you still should. But there are times when it's like, nah, it's okay. We get it. It's a procedurally generated roguelike or roguelite. You don't need to finish that. You need to get the character up, and that can be like 2 hours, and you're good. Dying Light 2, that's a story game. Now, you should get to the end of it. At least if you're going to talk anything about the story. And I do. I always talk about the story. So yeah, it's, But the other thing that occurred to me, but I'm gonna get a drink of water now. Then I'll start talking about it. That's better. I need to clear my throat a little bit. So, I actually initially came up with the system for something else entirely. It was actually for surveying people. A survey of, I still want to do this, I haven't though. I want to do a survey of QA professionals to find out what they want to see in bug report. Because, I have years of experience of doing video game quality assurance work. And we developed a certain system, a certain format for Sorry, I just wanted to quickly check the Xmeter. I don't know why it just randomly pops in my mind to do that. But it... come on, brain, turn over. We developed a certain format there, and I think that's a very good format. Just certain things that it includes there. And I think it would be interesting to try to present the question, the survey, of what do you look for? Both as a, what is it that you actually have your people give you, but also what is it that you like? What is it that you wish were in your report? I think that could be the basis of a very interesting article. But because I don't want to just read through and try to interpret, I needed to come up with questions that you could use some sort of scoring or categorization to say what you think, to rank what you think, like this would be good to have, that I don't care about. So to do that, what I thought of was, I'm asking for recommendations. Well, the way I do game reviews, I recommend, I fail to recommend, or I recommend against. So like recommend is, I'm saying, yes, you should play this game. It's a good game. It's a fun game. Fail to recommend is it's not a bad game, but it's also not a good game. I'm not saying you gotta play it, but I mean, you can play it. It's not a bad experience. Whereas recommend against is don't play this game. It's a bad game. Okay? And it's like, okay, well, those three are nice, but even within those, it's like there's a strong recommendation, there's weak recommendation. How do we address that? So what I thought of was a category system. So I just thought for a moment that there was some blood up on the wall there. So, yeah, I came up with this categorization system that follows numbers. So and they're centered on 0, which this I feel is important. Centering it on 0. So, fail to recommend, just straight fail to recommend is 0. There's also +1 and -1 though, that count as, these are still within fail to recommend. There's 3 categories to each of these larger categories. 3 subcategories to the 3 larger ones. So, a 0 is just, yeah, it's not good, it's not bad, it's game. 1 is, it's positive, so that's going towards being a recommended game. 1 is, yeah, it's still not that good a game, but it's also, it has the potential here to be a good game. It's just, if only they had done this, or if only they had done that. The potential is there, but, it's not realized. So it's not fun. Okay? So I'm trying to pay attention so I don't spill those. -1 is towards the recommend against. So it's like, yeah, this is really not a good game. It's not quite to a bad game, but it's getting to the point of I didn't want to spend my time in it. And then -2, -3, -4 would be, the actually formally, no, don't play this game. And -2 would be like, there are ways I could see it being fun, but it's still not a good game. Don't play it. So Assassin's Creed 3 would be that, or -1. Because it's not that good a game. It really is. But it's not bad. It's not a don't waste your time on this. The way I remember putting it in the conclusion for that review, was this is a game that, and I am getting kind of turned around. I'm doing this just by memory, and I'm not really sure where I am. But it was basically, how I put it was, if you want to experience the story, go ahead and play it. But if you'd rather just read online, go ahead and read online. You're not missing anything. It's not a good enough experience to be like, you gotta play it. Or even that you should play it. There it is. I knew I had a bit of it. Now, you can compare that to Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, which was a PSP game? I went wrong. I think it was on a It might not have been PlayStation. Well, it might not have been PSP. It may not have been PlayStation Portable, but it was one of those Sony-made portable consoles, handheld consoles. It was originally made on that, and then it eventually, came to PC as Assassin's Creed Liberation HD. And I played that, and that was just a bad game. That's like fully a -3. Maybe even -4, I don't know. It's been long. But let's say -3. But, definitely a recommend against. Don't play this game. And I actually put in... I'm going the wrong way. I actually put in the review. At least I think I put it in that. It was my feeling. That, yeah, don't even play the game for the story. Just look it up and read it. It is not worth your time. It is that bad a game. Okay? So that's -3. I don't know what -4 would be. I'm trying to think. Do I know? You know what? Yeah, that would either be a -3 or -4. And to be clear, these are categories. They're not scores. They're categories. But Borderlands, the pre-sequel, would definitely be a -3 or -4. Because that was a terrible, terrible game. I mean, it's like there were so many things about it where it's like, yeah, let's just, beat up the player as hard as we can, and then not give them any kind of rewards for, actually making it through there. And, I mean, it's like, also consider this. The ending, you have to go through this dungeon that has to go lower and lower and lower and lower down into the ground, right? You then, after beating that final boss, what do? You have to go back up and up and up and up and up through it. It doesn't teleport you back up to the top. It doesn't allow anything there. No, you need to run back through all the enemies that you already had to face. Maybe you even killed them, but they've respawned. What the hell is wrong with somebody, with a game developer, to think that that's okay? You beat the final boss of the game, and it's like, yeah, now go back through the dungeon. What? Fortunately, very few games are actually, recommend against. Very few. They're mostly going to be either fail to recommend or actually recommend. This game... I'd go with a 1 on it. I think a 1. So it's a recommendation, but it's a weaker recommendation. And the reason why is because it does have a certain lack of variety, but there's too many systems that it's like, it should be better. Like, it's some way to more clearly tell just how soiled the mop is. So, like, I don't know. Do I have another use at it right now or not? I did, but there's no way I have enough. Okay, that is sorted. And, so it has so much potential, but there are so many ways that it could be improved as well. So it is weaker, and it is also very much the kind of game that it's like, nah, you need to actually be willing to do this, picking up of bullet shells like this. It's unnecessary. That you're comfortable with that. But it is fun. I enjoy it. And certainly if you're playing with friends, I could see it being even more enjoyed. So, yeah, but it's not a just solid, I'm recommending the game, that's a 2. So like Dying Light 2, that got a 2. Because that just solidly, it's a good game. It's a fun game. I really enjoyed it. Play it. It is not a 4. 4 is you need to play this game. Like, if this is not in your library, then you are failing at being a gamer. That is such hyperbole, and I hate people that... Well, I don't hate people, but I hate when people go to that. And I've witnessed that myself. People being like, oh, well, you're not a true gamer if you haven't played Half-Life 2. I played it, it didn't do much for me. I mean, it's a fine game, but it didn't do much. But, you know, it's... Obviously, for those people, Half-Life 2 is a 4. I don't feel that way about Half-Life 2. The closest, and I'd have to look, like, I'd have to replay it, would be The Witcher 3. But even that, there would be qualifications to it. That's part of the reason why these are just categories, they're not scores. Is that you actually need to be interested in such a story-focused RPG for The Witcher 3 to be worth it, too. Same thing with The Witcher 2. The Witcher 2 is also truly both of those I consider to be great games. That they did things that the industry should learn from. Okay? Like, the level of storytelling and such is that good, in my opinion. And the execution on the gameplay and graphics was also top-notch. And, like, one thing that I will never forget this, because it is that significant for The Witcher 3, for me at least, is there's a side campaign in it, not just a side mission, but a whole campaign, called The Bloody Baron. And when I finished that, I think I only had like 40 or 60 hours in the game. I ended up going to 150, okay? That's a big game. But when I finished it, I like physically shifted back in my seat and said to myself, this could be it. This could be where the game ended, and I would be completely satisfied. And I knew there was so much more to go. That one campaign was so good. That one side campaign was so good. And, you know, so stuff like that, you know, would push to a 4. But yeah, as I said though, it's a category system, it's not a scoring system. Like, just because something is a 4 doesn't mean that the game itself is better than a 3. Just because it's a 3 doesn't mean that the game itself is better than a 2. It just means my recommendation is, you know, stronger or weaker. It's like, this is a 1. No, wait. No, this is a 2. Yes. But there's another game that I actually reviewed not too long ago. That's a 2 as well. But I'm a lot more down on that game than I am on this one. This one, it's like, I see the potential here. It's just not tapped. So it's more of it's a 2, but one of those, like, I want a sequel to this. But this other game, that it is a 2. Is Shadow Warrior 3, where it's like, yeah, this is actually not that good a game. But it was still fun. I enjoyed it. I had fun, so that makes it a recommendation. But it's a weak recommendation, because it's like, yeah, the gameplay is a little wonky at times, but it's fun. The final boss fight was actually very fun, which is so weird. We're so used to, it's like, you play a game, you're having fun, and then you get to the end, and it's like the boss fight is so poor. It's like, not the case there. That actually was a good boss fight. But it, come on. There. But it just, the gameplay was, I was even calling it dull. I'm enjoying this. Look at what I've been doing. And I enjoy this. But I found that game to be dull. Okay? It's like, when I started talking about that and that review playthrough, it's like, I mean, you know this is dull if I'm calling it dull. I was careful though, it wasn't boring. Boring is like straight up a negative. It's like, if something is boring, that's like, yeah, you don't want boring, you want to avoid it. Dull is monotonous. It's like, I'm doing the same thing I was doing before, still doing it. Nothing's really advancing, nothing's getting better, nothing's getting worse. This isn't where you want it to be. But yeah, that's a much... So, like, a score for Shadow Warrior 3 would be below the score for this, but the categorization is the same. because the quality of the game is better, but it's like there's so much potential here that isn't tapped, and so that's why it's a low recommendation. It's a weaker recommendation. Where I can see this being so good, it's just not there yet. Shadow Warrior 3 was, I can see this being so good, and it should be there. There's no excuse for it being as weak as it is. They released. Although I will grant, Shadow Warrior 2 is also not that good a game. It has its own weaknesses, but they're different weaknesses. Alright. I might actually stop this video early, so that the next one can be all about that laser weapon. But yeah, so that's basically starting this year. What was the first game? What was the first game I reviewed this year? I don't remember. Which is a little disappointing that I don't remember, but it happened. But yeah, with 2022 reviews starting in 2020 that I've been doing in 2022, I am using this categorization system. So that's Dying Light 2, that's Shadow Warrior 3. What is... I cannot remember what the first game is I reviewed this calendar. Nope, it's just not coming to mind. But I'm going to keep doing the categorization stuff. Even if people don't care about it, it helps me. It really does. Because it helps by me, even though I don't have, very formally, what makes it a 2, what makes it a 3, what makes it 4. It's still the fact that these categories exist, at least in my mind. It's like, I can say, yes, this is this, this is that. So I can say, this is a 2. I can say, Dying Light 2 is a 3. It's like, by having that system, I can know that, and while I'm playing the game, I can be like, you know what? This is where it is. Yeah, yep. So it's that kind of, formalizing my thoughts kind of thing. So I'm gonna do it regardless. Damn, what was that first game the year that I reviewed? I think it was a 2. But I don't remember. I'm gonna dump this. Also, one other thing I would say about the this scoring method, but not scoring method, sorry, categorization, is that it's, by not being a scoring method, has a certain advantage to it. Which is that a score could change over time, but because it's like, it's not going to be like in 5 years. Well, hey, it's been about 6 years since The Witcher 3 came out. And I'm pulling up the review. Yes, that's what. And if I were to, let's say, give it a 3, I don't know about 4, I don't want to commit to that, but definitely at least a 3. 6 years later, I'd still say it's a 3. But 6 years later, if I played it again, I could see a score being changed. I know some places gave like a 9.5 or 9.75, which categories, not scoring, so there's no decimals. There's no 1.5. It's a 1 or a 2. Um, yeah, scores can be temporal like that. These categories, I intend them to not be. But yeah, so that first review of the year was Serious Sam Siberian Mayhem. And what did I give that? That actually might have been a 1. Oh no, I gave that a 0. Wow, okay. So that's not me changing it by saying that might have been a 1. That's I just didn't remember. I know it wasn't that good, but it's always, you look back on something, it's easier to remember what you liked than what you did. I'm blaming that for why I was saying a 1. I knew it was in the fail to recommend. I knew it was in that way. Yeah, it's a 0 though, yeah. Because now that I think about it more, yeah, that was not a fun game. And it had way too many weaknesses to it. And that's kind of what but also had some stuff that was good. That's kind of what it comes down to, is I will recommend a game if it's fun and enjoyable. That was not a fun and enjoyable game, so it's in fail to recommend, so that's -1, 0, 1. Where is it within that? Dead center, because as a 1, that's saying that it has the potential. Like, if they had done these things differently, it would be better. -1 would have been it's not bad, but it could have been. It's a 0 because it's hasn't got the stuff where it could have been better. Hasn't got stuff where it could have been worse. It just had all of it balances out to just be right there, right in the middle. To be this is just I can't say you should play the game. All right. Yeah, so I will be stopping now, and let me just make sure. This is 69, right? Perfect. So this is video 4, so with the next one, it'll be 5, and that'll it may end up being a short one, but it'll mainly be the arc welder, I think. I think I've got everything else cleaned up. So, yeah. See you then.